Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Chris Bear, Vice President of Growth for the U.S. with eXp Realty. And boy, do we have a special guest today. We have Kyle Handy. Kyle, how are you?
Man, I'm doing amazing, Chris. I just am happy to be here and happy to be chatting it up with you.
Absolutely. So, man, I am so pumped, just from the 10 minutes we had before we started the show and the conversations that we were having. And I am certain someone's going to be watching today that is going to hear something that is radically going to change their life. Would you agree with me,
Oh,
Kyle, on that?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be amazing. I already know it.
Awesome. So, hey, Kyle, let's learn a little bit about you. So you're out of Texas, right?
Yep. San Antonio.
And real important to you is family. We were talking about that here. I got a picture I'm going to pull up, and maybe you can walk us through here. That looks like a great time right there. It looks like some skiing going on. Where is that?
Man, that was Breckenridge, Colorado. Actually,
Wow.
this year, right before COVID, everything. It was in February, and man, amazing trip. We went there with a couple of our EXP friends. And went skiing, did the whole nine, brought the kids with us. And it was definitely a really fun trip.
Well, it looks like a blast. So Kyle, let's jump into this. So, I really like to find out, what got you into real estate? It's very rare do we hear, I wanted to be an agent since I was a child. Typically it's a life event. Real estate can be stressful, right? I mean, you're bankrupt every 45 days. Like, who really wants to put themselves through that, right? So what was it for you that got you into real estate?
Man, only a crazy person, right? They like to put themselves through the stress that we go through sometimes. But no, it was basically, I got it started in 2008, so 12 years ago. And I was just graduating from college. I had gotten my degree in finance. I really had no idea exactly which route I was going to go. And my mom actually had said, "Hey, why don't you, this home builder is hiring. Why don't you go look into real estate?" So I went, and that was my first job. I worked in new home sales. I did that for like 5 years. And so I was in new home sales from 08 to 13 and, worked my way up to where I was one of the top salespeople in the company, learned sales because I had never sold anything for, the life of me before that, learned sales, learned, customer service, learned real estate. I didn't even own a home when I first, got started in that. And so, but, in 2013, wanted a little bit more freedom into the business, because in new home sales, you're working weekends, till 7, 8 at night. You have to be there regardless of if you have a client. So I thought, hey, general real estate looks really nice. That looks really easy is how I actually thought. And I was like, I'll do that. I can, be a realtor and that'll give me back a lot of my time. Man, was I so wrong.
Because it looks easy. Were you watching HGTV? Was that it?
I looked at all the agents that would come into my office. I was the new home person. They'd come in, like, bring their client and then like sign their name on the deal. And then I'd work with the person for the next 6 months and the agent would get paid. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. And I was like, I could do that. But no. And then I got into general real estate in 13, but instead of just being an agent, I actually went out and I opened up my own real estate brokerage. And so I had my brokerage right away. I didn't go to like a Keller Williams or a Remax or Century 21, anything like that at the time. And, basically did that from 13 all the way to 17 for 4 years. I had my own independent here in San Antonio. So not only was I figuring out how to be an agent, I was figuring out how to like lead other agents and grow my business, grow my brokerage. And I'd finally gotten it to about 15 agents. Wow. And oh my gosh, I mean, I wouldn't change anything for the world because I learned a ton during that process. But, in 17, right in the summer of 17 is finally when I saw the model at EXP. And I mean, we could talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but I mean, my entire, eyes opened up and it completely changed a lot of stuff for me.
So let's talk about this now. So you've got a successful brokerage. Mm-hmm. Right. Tell me, how did that business look while you were running your brokerage though? Like you were doing sales. Yep. I mean, kind of what you've done, very few do in the industry. Right. So I commend you for that, but, just kind of talk about that. You're doing great. How are things going right now?
Yeah. So, basically, it gotten to the point where, I was growing, scaling. I had a brick and mortar office. I had, 2 paid salaried people. I had, systems and tools that I was giving to the agents. And to the point where at, one point in time, I think my highest, overhead per month was about $25,000 per month that I was, outlaying basically to run the business. And in some months, the agent that I had in my business would cover that full amount, or be above. But a lot of months it was not, and it was actually basically my income, my personal real estate sales volume that was supplementing the business to the tune of where I might do anywhere from 350 to 500,000 gross commission for a year, and I'd end up netting like 150 or less because I was supplementing the business.
So wait, can we stop there for a second? Because you're the brokerage owner, you're the broker, you're supposed to be making all the money now. You're telling me you didn't make all the money.
No, that was the intention when I got in. I was like, look, I don't have to pay a 20% split to some other broker. I don't have to pay a 30. Man, was I wrong. I was paying way more than that when you end up breaking it all down, because you pay some way, you know what I mean? And so, that's, I had to learn the hard way, and that's why now 4 years after doing that, it's like I said, I gained a lot of experience, but now I just share kind of that message with other people because, I've definitely learned a lot better way to kind of scale your business without taking on so much financial risk and also just so much liability, like on other deals and stuff like that.
Now, what about time, during this build that you were doing, running a brokerage, you're selling real estate? What did that look like? I mean, how did you manage to build in time for your family and other things that were important to you? Or was that something that just didn't happen often?
Yeah, and that's actually a great question, because like in 2013, the whole reason I started my brokerage was we actually having our first child, my daughter Addison. She's now 6. You saw her in the picture there earlier. So like that's why it spurred me to get into general real estate, start my own brokerage. And I thought, man, I'm going to get so much time with my family. And in the beginning, it certainly wasn't that way. I mean, I was working 70 to 90 hours a week pretty consistently, trying to get my business up and running and going. And, just because you got agents, and if, I didn't have like I said, I finally got to where I had 2 staff, but even still agents were calling, they'd have questions, or just even new agents, I felt responsible. I needed to teach them and train them. So everything fell onto my shoulders. And then you're building up systems, you're still selling in the background, trying to sell in the background. So, I mean, there was just a lot of things that, that I was doing. And I mean, it was definitely pretty tough. I mean, luckily my kids were really little at the time. They were, my daughter, she was a baby. So it wasn't like we had a lot of events and stuff to go to, but, definitely I didn't have a lot of time. Even, I was working 7 days a week. There was really no days off at that point in time.
Man, you're making me relive some of my past. And it's funny, my wife and I will still look at, photographs from the past, and I'm in the pictures, but I don't remember it.
Yep.
I'm like, wait, I was there, right? And it's so hard because that is, physically we're there, but mentally, right, we're somewhere else.
Exactly.
So come on, man, great brokerage. You're scaling, you're doing great, right? Not much time on your hands, right? But you're making do, right? Yep. And then you make a move to EXP. So, the question always is, why? Why EXP? What was EXP going to offer to you that you couldn't do on your own or in your current state of what you were building?
So it's so funny. So I'll tell you the story. So it actually goes back into like 2016. So my sponsor in the company, his name's Pat Hayes. A lot of people probably know him.
Yeah,
great guy, amazing guy. Lives in San Antonio here with me. And he'd been like reaching out to me. I think Pat joined December of 15. He'd probably started reaching out to me January of 16, right? So for like a year, he was like, hey, Kyle, will you sit down with me? And I just kept blowing him off. I was like, no, man, I'm good. I got my own brokerage. Like, I'm plugging along. And I didn't really even, sit down and hear about the opportunity until finally in April of 17, I'm filing my taxes. And my CPA actually goes, hey, do you know a guy named Pat Hayes? I was like, yeah, I know Pat. He's been reaching out to me a few times about this, EXP thing. And I've just been kind of blowing him off. He's like, man, I just did his taxes, and he's doing some really cool stuff, with, real estate and residual income and just building up his team and his group. And when my CPA, he sees his finances and he sees my finances, tells me to take a look at an opportunity, you take it a little bit more seriously. And so, basically at that point, after I met with my CPA, I called Pat up. I said, hey, man, all right, I'll sit down with you. I'll hear this thing out. I'm probably still not interested, but, my CPA says I should talk to you and hear about it. So I sat down with him and I was like, I'll give you 30 minutes. It was like 3 hours that I sat with him, and he gave me the whole thing. This was in 2017. So, I mean, there wasn't as many like good presentations and stuff to like watch or see.
I remember
a lot of this was like on a napkin at lunch. But but what he explained to me that day, I was just like thinking to myself the whole time. I was like, my agents that I have back at my brokerage, I knew for a fact I wouldn't be able to give them everything that EXP could give to them, at all, because I was already so stretched financially, and I felt like I was giving as much as I could. So I knew that I couldn't like afford to give anything else, and I didn't have more time to give anything else. And so something had to give. And I was like, man, if you can't beat them, join them. Right. So like, that was kind of my thought. And so basically, I moved right over in the summer of 2017, shortly after that April, because I wait until the last day to file my taxes, like April 15th. Shortly after that is when I moved over to EXP, and, and I've been here ever since and love it.
So how's it been now since you've been here? What's happened with your sales business? What's happened with your growth? Where are you at today?
Yeah. So, that's kind of the exciting part is, it took me basically 4 years to get 15 agents at my old brokerage. And I've been here at EXP for 3.5 years now. And I've got over 360 agents that have joined me here in my group, 34 states, 3 Canadian provinces. And I get to work with these, top agents all over the country on a day-to-day basis. I still actively sell, not quite as much anymore because I'm, focused on kind of growing my team, but I've been an icon agent here at EXP 3 years in a row. So I still, do sell anywhere from about.
Can you pause it for a second? Can you share that? Some people that are watching won't understand what an icon agent is. Can you share that real quick, how you got that award and what that means to you now?
Yeah. So, the Icon Agent Award, you basically get it for, production milestones. So you got to be a capping agent, which, you do about 80,000 in gross commission income. And then you do about another 20 transactions beyond that. So like in my market, doing anywhere from about 30 to 35 transactions is what gets me to Icon. And so I've done that all 3 years that I've been here. And when I do that, EXP gives me the 16,000 that I paid in for cap in the form of company stock. And so each year that I've been here, I've paid 16,000 in for my cap. I've gotten 16,000 back. But what's super interesting, I actually just was looking at it today, is, the 16,000 that I've gotten each year, some of the first years I was getting when it was like $4 a share, $5 a share. And if you look at it today, our stock price is over $60 a share. So, that $16,000 is worth, a couple $100,000 now. It's just,
that 16,000 though, right? Worth now, 6 figures.
Yep.
It's literally, you got paid to sell real estate at a company.
It's unbelievable. I still like, sometimes I'm like, man, this is like, I pinch myself, but it's, because I didn't have, for 9 years, when I was running my own brokerage and had my own business, I didn't have any savings. I didn't have any retirement. Everything that I had went back into my business. And so like literally after 9 years of being in the business, I had nothing to really show for it. I'd earn a lot of commissions throughout the way, but we spend that money or, you reinvest it.
Agents aren't good at saving.
No. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And so, now at this point though, 3.5 years, I've got, all of that stock. I think I've got, 13,000 shares of stock, which that's over $700,000 worth of stock that I've got.
That is incredible.
That I've got now. I could, use that stock and however I wish. I can just save it for retirement. And
college, you've got 2 kids, right?
Exactly.
Think about that though. Yep. These are things that typically we're worrying about. And and just for doing what we've always done, right? We're getting this wealth, and it's amazing, man. I love your story, Kyle. Yep. Like you have touched so many lives. Every time that your name is brought up, it's always in a very passionate, positive way of the energy and what you give back. So here at EXP, we are honored for you to be part of this company, and it's yourself and so many other great agents, right, that have come together and helped be leaders. And rising tide rises all ships, where we're taking agents' hands, right, and we're pulling them up into success. And I've never seen a culture like this. Yep. So Kyle, as we're coming to an end here, man, I could go on and chat with you all day. So you're going to have to come back, and we're going to have to do a follow-up. But I'm going to put you on the spot. And I didn't tell you I'm going to ask you this, but as we're coming to an end, what advice or encouragement could you give to someone that's watching that maybe is new in the industry and it's just not taken off right yet, or maybe they've been in the industry for a while and they still just haven't gotten to where they wanted to be, and we've all been at those points, right? And maybe they're discouraged or they're thinking maybe this isn't for me. What advice or encouragement could you give to someone like that today?
Yeah, I'd say because I talk to a lot of new agents like all the time. I've got a YouTube channel where I mean that's the majority of like my training that I do. It's bunched, focused on new agents. And what I've noticed whenever I speak with newer agents or just agents that are struggling in general, it's usually because they've overcomplicated their business or they make things a little harder than it needs to be. I always preach that like going back to the basics, getting a simple business, creating a simple business plan where you're focused on like one lead generation source, and then you're committed to like spending as much time each day to that one source. And typically in the beginning, it's got to be, some form of prospecting, and just kind of really getting into that. Whether it's for sale by owners, expireds, calling your sphere of influence, doing something that's outbound prospecting that is measurable. If you, sit down, even like when I was, just outbound prospecting, 3 or 4 hours a day is what I was investing of my time to make calls, constantly make calls. And here's the other thing that I always say too, is your key metric, that the main goal you need to focus on, because it can sometimes get so diluted. Somebody's thinking, oh, I just got to generate leads. My goal should be making calls. It's appointment set, like being face-to-face with somebody, like getting on Zoom calls. Like that's what I track every single day, every single week, is how many appointments am I face-to-face with somebody that can move the needle in my business. And I think when you overcomplicate, you have so many metrics you're tracking, you have so many different sources that maybe you got your time split between, it can get a little difficult. And so, the biggest thing is really sometimes just slim down, figure out one thing that you're going to master and you're going to be the best at, get the best scripts, talk to the agents that are doing whatever it is that you've identified that you're going to do, the ones that are already doing it at a high level, figure out what they're doing. I mean, because at this time, it's not rocket science. It's really just time on task and being focused and being consistent. And so if you're struggling, usually it's because, we got so many distractions in our lives and just even distractions in our business. I mean, as realtors, we're getting approached at the new lead generation technique or the new lead strategy or this or that. And you only try things for certain amounts of time, and it just never takes off. You really got to, plant your flag, pick out what's going to be best for you and just go all in, go straight ahead on it.
I love it, Kyle. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. And thank you for your time. If somebody needed to reach out to you or find your videos, how would they do that?
Yeah, so just search YouTube for Kyle Handy, or you can also head over to my blog, which is just kylehandy.com. And I've got, probably hundreds of articles on there that, talk all about real estate agent training and whatnot. And then if you want to reach out to me, I'm always happy to help somebody out. Just either send me a message on Instagram or you can send me a message on Facebook. So that's it.
Awesome. Kyle,
Yep.
Thank you so much. And everybody watching today, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, have a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.